The Barson-Garland page was turning out to be something of a succès d'estime. Taking a cue from the regular columnists on the rival evening paper, Ashley found that he had a gift for tediously obvious opinions expressed in a formulaic polemical style that exactly suited the kind of brain-fagged computer most ready to confuse polysyllabic misanthropy for intelligent thought. London's appetite for trenchant attacks on political correctness seemed to know no bounds, and Ashley was happy to feed it. He had in abundance that peculiar journalistic gift of stating all the prevailing bourgeois prejudices in a language that represented itself as maverick, daring, and unconventional. Nor had the heroic failure of his private members' bill done anything to harm his growing reputation as one who dared to speak up for common sense, decency, standards, and the deeper feelings of the silent majority, and his beloved instincts of the British people. Whispers were growing within the party. Barson-Garland was achieving more for the Conservatives from the backbenches than leading figures were managing from the front. His name had been openly mentioned by the BBC's senior political correspondent as a contender in any future leadership election. Things were moving along well. Simon Cotter had not been able to help him with his bill, but had expressed his sympathy in an orotund style very like Ashley's own. "I have no doubt that governmental access to net traffic is ultimately inevitable," he had agreed. "The imperatives of financial security, public morals, and systemic virus protection will make the idea irresistible in time. I cannot be seen to endorse it, however. I'm sure you understand that for commercial reasons I must place myself on the side of the civil libertarians. When the time does come, I suspect that you will play some part in its implementation, and I want to assure you that you will have our full cooperation here at CDC. In the meantime, I wonder if I can have a talk to you about something else. As you may know, we've recently acquired the London Evening Press. My editor is on the lookout for a good regular columnist. Does the idea appeal?" The idea, and Cotter's elegant, to Ashley's mind, manner of phrasing it, had appealed greatly, and Barson-Garland had waxed great. On the back of his newfound success as a common-sense tribune of the people, he had recently embarked upon a series of live television debates. Armed with a microphone and a bank of experts, victims, and unbelievers, he stalked the studio like a grand inquisitor, probing moral and ethical issues to their depths. A great white Oprah, an intellectual Jerry Springer, a moral Montel for the new millennium. The first programme, under the title of The Failure of Feminism, had gone exceptionally well, and he was currently preparing the next. His producer had told him that it was essential in television to put your heaviest artillery in the second programme in a series. "If the first is good," she had said, "the second must be better. Those who missed the opening episode will have been told about it by their friends or read reviews in the papers. They will tune in to number 2 in their droves, so let's make it a stormer." It was to be entitled The Threat of the Net, and a stormer it would certainly be. Parents whose children had run up impossible phone bills or had met unsavoury perverts through chat-room friendships, musicians whose royalties had been threatened, all had been lined up and were ready to accuse the defenders of the net, the authors of software that allowed mass music copyright infringement, the service providers who failed to filter repulsive news groups, the credit card companies, the irresponsible online medical services, the whole internet establishment. One of the programme's researchers had built a bomb by using information readily available on the web. Another had bought drugs, and yet another, and this would surely constitute one of the most sensational exposés in television history, had been posing as a 12-year-old for 6 months and was planning, live, to meet another apparent minor whom the programme had deduced, by linguistic analysis, to be an adult. A hidden camera would record the whole scene, and police were standing by to make an arrest. On the day of transmission, Ashley appeared to be the only one with a cool head. A group of parents had found themselves having supper in the studio canteen next to a man whose laptop displayed repulsive photographs of dead bodies and mutilated limbs. The parents had screamed and accused the producers of insensitivity, stupidity, and deliberate manipulative wickedness. Ruffled feathers were smoothed when it turned out that the offending laptop belonged to a reporter who was researching Angolan landmines for a completely unconnected programme. The reporter in question, who had gone off to join the supper queue, was severely reprimanded for leaving his computer unattended. The father of the child who had opened the laptop was persuaded against legal action, and relative calm was restored.